Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. What do you say? What do you say? It's Monday. JT Raw. A raw version of what I like to do. Raw. Thor, good to see you in here first.
Don't forget we're off tomorrow.
For what?
Baseball.
We're off tomorrow?
We are.
Oh, no, for Aviators baseball?
That is correct, sir.
I was not aware of that. Wow, Big D, Cinco de Mayo. Yes, Bobby will play some Latino-based rock, Santana, Mexican Cinco de Mayo. Yes, we will have some type of theme music with that, whatever Cinco de Mayo is. Any Cinco de Mayo rock songs that you'd like to put in the chat as we begin? And I'm serious. Cinco de Mayo rock. I did not go to Post Malone and Jelly Roll, but I heard they did well. How about that Inouye fight? Here's what we got today. We got Damon Bruce on the Warriors. Going to give you a little Warrior love at 1:30 for the Dub fans who are here. And then the great boxing journalist Kevin Iole at 1:05 Pacific time on the Inouye fight, the Canelo fight, the announcement that Canelo is going to fight in Vegas against Bud Crawford, which is a big deal. So excited about that. And that's it. First hour is open phone lines, as the great Hacksaw and Jim Rome would say. First hour is open phone lines. We sounding good here, Bobby? No scratching? Yeah, we sound pretty good. Everybody can hear the show.
Your circle.
Inouye is a monster.
It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll
use a very primitive way for you to hear the show. Primitive. We can't plug the show into my laptop, which is my YouTube feed. Oh, and Looney and I won a podcast award. We didn't win an award. We were top 13 out of 50 for
home for the pre and post game parties is the
some
Tailgater
podcast
Tavern.
award.
Less than a half mile from the stadium, the Tailgater features 24
on my
beers on tap
Facebook
and
page,
killer happy
JT
hour
the
specials
Brick
and
on
gaming promotions.
Facebook.
Plus, the kitchen is cooking up
Please
everything
give
from
us a
shareable bar
follow
bites to
on
breakfast,
Instagram,
flatbread
JT
pizzas,
the
and
Brick
monster-sized
LV.
burgers.
Bobby, are you on
This
the
is your
Insta?
sports viewing
You on
headquarters.
Instagram?
The Tailgater Tavern in
And
Russell and Valley View.
we are on the YouTube, as you know, because you're here. Grimaldi's has 4 locations in the Vegas Valley, or check it out online at grimaldispizzeria.com. Well, Trina, now you're in charge. So next Monday and Tuesday, Harry Ruiz is in for me as my son graduates from college. So mentally, I'm all about that. My youngest son graduates from ASU, Arizona State. So we're going to spend some time with my parents out in Scottsdale, and they're coming to Vegas for their annual trip, which is going to be great. And that's a big part of my life. I believe in great milestones. That's a great milestone. I know you have a lot of nieces and nephews who are graduating from high school or kids, so congratulations on that. And my new headsets, look at these. Wow.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio. Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years. And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, as we kick off a new week on the flagship of the Silver and Black, Raider Nation Radio, 9:20 a.m. on the Raiders mobile app, where some people were nervous. Where is the link on the app? It's in the upper right-hand corner. It's a little link that says radio. It works good. So do that, or you can listen on my YouTube channel at JT the Brick YT, which we're the best backup plan. If everything goes south and Bobby says aliens come down and they take away the transmitter, as long as they give me Wi-Fi, I'll be live and you can see the show where I'm wearing my Modelo Raiders pullover today. Modelo, as we open up the show. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope everybody's weekend was great. We kind of have a cool weather day today which over the decades, I like it hot. Man, I like it really hot. I'm like a 105 to 110 guy. 114 feels like 114. 105 feels like 95 because we have no humidity out here. I grew up in New York where 85 and full humidity is awful. You know, we don't have any humidity in Vegas, which is really amazing that we live in a desert and we don't have any humidity, but I'm not a weather person here. But once it gets to about 95 to 100, that's my wheelhouse. I love it there. I moved here for the heat. And normally when it's that hot, it doesn't rain. That's another quick secret. When it gets that hot, rain is not allowed to be involved with that. They claim we'll have a monsoon here and there. We really don't. We have a day of maybe one day every couple of years. But today, cool and brisk as I was doing backyard brick and walking the dog today on the mean streets of Summerlin. Gorgeous day, gorgeous week. Bobby just alarmed me that we're off tomorrow for Aviators baseball. What am I going to do tomorrow having a day off? I don't deserve a day off. I'm doing this 30 years. I don't want a day off, but the Aviators are kicking me off the radio tomorrow. Our good friends, Donnie Logan and Jim Gemma. I'm happy to take the day off, and rest of the week's going to be big. I got great guests lined up, including today. Going to throw the Warriors a bone, where Damon Bruce, the big radio podcaster, will join us at 1:30 Pacific on the run of the Warriors. Can this Warrior team win a title as a 7 seed with old man Draymond Green? They might be able to. Every matchup seems to be perfect for them. They don't have to play Oklahoma City. They play Houston that has no experience. Man, the Dubs have a nice little road to the Western Conference Finals if they take care of their business. And then at the top of next hour, the great acclaimed boxing journalist Kevin Iole on the Inoue fight. Oh, my God, did you see that last night? We had family business. We couldn't attend, but I normally go to all the fights. Inoue won the monster. The Japanese fighter put on a show. He got knocked to his ass in the second round and won the fight. And the Canelo announcement. Canelo is fighting Bud Crawford coming up on a Friday night in September. Is that a hint, Bobby, that the Raiders could be home? Is there a conspiracy theory? Why is the fight on Friday? Could the Raiders be home Sunday? The schedule ain't out till next week. I don't have the answer. I don't have the schedule in front of me. But Canelo and Bud Crawford fighting is something I talked to Mark Davis about privately over a cigar. I think 5 years ago, I looked at Mark over a cigar and I said, man, we need a boxing in Allegiant Stadium. He's nodding his head. Mark loves boxing, loves it. And now we're getting a super fight, a little bit past its due. That fight would have been great 5 years ago, but it still has a chance to be great as Vegas will have another big, big event coming up in September. Who went and saw Post Malone and Jelly Roll? I heard they put on a hell of a show, Wife and the Friends. So who saw that show? If you went to that show, another rock concert weekend. But I'm going to lead with hockey. I have some Raiders content here as always. I'm not apologizing that it's a slow time for the Raiders. You might say, what did he say? Yeah, it's a slow time. They're not playing games. We don't have games. We don't really have practice other than the rookies ready to come into a mini camp. We had the draft, which was electric. And then we found out that the Raiders are building a dream team. As someone told me outside the Raiders, quote, the Raiders are building a dream team front office as the Raiders went to the Philadelphia Eagles. He was part of 2 Super Bowl championships. He most recently served as the team's senior director of college scouting, and the Raiders get Anthony Patch, who worked under Howie Roseman, along with John Spytek, who worked under Jason Light and won Super Bowl. We got some Super Bowl experience in the building, not with the Raiders winning recently, but wow. So the Raiders are building a dream team with executives who weren't with the organization, who are coming in now, and we welcome them all. So we welcome Anthony Patch, senior personnel executive. Great. The more minds are in the room. Tom Brady is in the room. Everybody else who's there, Pete Carroll. I consider Pete Carroll a coach and an executive. Man, he's good. Pete Carroll's really good. We got some sound coming up with Pete. So if you want to jump on the Raiders, we're still kind of riding the wave into the beach on the draft. Everybody seems to be pretty excited about the Raider draft. I didn't hear any complaints. I did not. I mean, I heard a couple of people asking, why didn't we get Shedeur late, like in the 5th round when he went in the 5th round? I said, because the Raiders had the quarterback room already set. And by the way, the Raiders took quarterbacks late, 2 of them, that they think were probably as good as anybody on the board at that point. So I think the Raider quarterback room is great with a healthy Geno and a healthy Aiden O'Connell and the depth that they have there. UNLV's former quarterback signs with the Raiders undrafted. You got a bunch of guys in the quarterback room. The running back room will be led by Raheem Mostert as the dignified elder statesman, but it's Ashton Genty who's going to get a heavy dose. In the wide receiver room, I was at an event, the Cinco de Mayo party yesterday. I was at a Cinco de Mayo party at Buddy's house, and the great Dana Wagner from News 3, we had him on a week ago. He said, I think Jacoby Myers is a number one. I go, Dana, you might be right. He had 1,000 receptions. He didn't drop a ball. Why is everybody freaking out that the Raiders needed a number one and we got Jacoby Myers? Devontae didn't want to be here. Jacoby Myers wants to be here. Jacoby Myers puts up number one receiver numbers. Not elite number one like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, but he's pretty good. The best kid that we got from TCU is a beast. Also talked about him lining up in the slot. Why does everybody think a slot receiver's got to be some tiny kid, some small Hunter Renfrow guy? Why can't a slot receiver be Brock Bowers or Besh? These two guys are big, they're strong, they're muscular, they break tackles. And then the Raiders got a new receiver on the outside. 6'5", runs a 4.3. Michael Mayer's still on the team. A lot of people thought he was trade bait. Could he be traded? I don't know. I don't get involved with people's personal issues. Last year we were told Big Mike had a personal issue. He stepped away from the team. He's still here. What a beast he is. You see the way he looks when he lines up? He's a mismatch. So the Raiders now on offense, from the last time that Derek Carr was here, because Derek's a good player. He's a good player. He's been in that Geno category, and Geno's been in his category. They've been around that, anywhere ranked from 9 to 14. We saw Derek at his best in 2016. That was really good. And we've seen Derek play well, but the injury, he was never the same, but he still played at a high level. Man, have you looked at this new Raiders offense? Now, the offensive line, this is what we have for our offensive line. I'm assuming they're going to get coached differently. Hopefully coached differently. I always say, Bobby, I got to correct myself. I don't want to say better because there could be an old coach listening to me go, what do you mean? I was a good coach. I don't rip on old coaches, but we got Pete Carroll's son on the offensive line, right? We got Joe Philbin, who's the head coach there. And we have an unbelievable new offensive coordinator with Chip Kelly. What happens if Chip Kelly's in the meeting room with the offensive line and go, no. You see when you pulled there? You missed with your shoulder on that pull, and all of a sudden Chip's throwing in this vast knowledge, and the offensive line just gets better by osmosis. There's a word I haven't used since high school. So with all this, the Raider offense is up to par. Par is a golf term when you don't go over par, which would be a bogey, and if you do better, it's a birdie or an eagle. Okay, the Raiders offense is up to par. Now it has the ability to be really good. Because the three-headed monster, I like to call it, is Geno Smith, Ashton Genty, and Brock Bowers. Let me repeat that. Geno Smith, Brock Bowers, and Ashton Genty. You tell me three better than that, and I would say, yeah, you're going to take Mahomes and Kelsey, the aging Kelsey. Great player, put a gold jacket on him now. But when you look at the three that I'm talking about here, don't tell me Justin Herbert is a lot better than Geno. He's better because he's elite. Yeah, I hate to tell you that, Raider Nation. He's super elite. He's an elite player who now finally has a good coach around him. He doesn't have boy Blunder. He's got Jim Harbaugh, and they loaded up on their O-line. And do you see their running backs that they got in Charger land? They're pretty good, but I'll put us up against them. And Bo Nix ain't better than Geno. I saw some ranking that had Bo Nix better than Geno. Hey, put that Bo Nix is better than Geno ranking in Geno's locker. Bo Nix ain't better than Geno. Geno's been in this league a long time. Geno's a hell of a player. Who the Broncos have that's Brock Bowers? Who? Who the Broncos have that's Ashton Genty? Who? We can run with them, man. We can run the ball now. We can run it downhill. We need Jackson Powers Johnson to become better, and he's pretty good. He's young, right? We need Colton Miller to be healthy. healthy. I don't need that guy to play a play. You just put him in a bubble wrap, I'll be fine, but this is competition, Pete. Pete's going to make everybody compete. And then the Raiders, as I dove into the draft analysis, God, they got some big offensive linemen early in the draft who are here to compete and play. It's not automatic that DJ Glaze and Dylan Parham are starters. You lost your mind? It's not guaranteed that those guys are starting. We just got 2 offensive linemen who are big monsters like Walls. Those guys are going to want to play. So overall, I'm excited about the offense because I'm a season ticket holder. Chop, chop, chop. Let's pick up the pace. Let's go no huddle. Let's get Ashton Genty going. And my biggest hot button, which I've been preaching since the draft, is we got bigger receivers who can block downfield if Ashton gets loose, as they like to say. He's loose. Well, once he breaks through. Now, I gave you glasses half full. Nothing's really empty. But we need another corner and a linebacker. Okay, you know I've been dying for a linebacker, dying for him. And I like Devin White a lot because he was a great player. He was an elite player, and I still think he's got the ability to play at a very high level. We've brought in recent older linebackers in other regimes who played pretty well. You know, it played okay. But I'd like another linebacker, and I'd like another corner. For those, I was driving in listening, it was a Rich Eisen, I think, when I was driving in, and they're talking about Jalen Ramsey's situation, and Jalen Ramsey still available. Sean McVay might bring him back to LA for the Rams. If you told me Jalen Ramsey went to the Raiders, I'd be like, ooh, hold on. Tell me during a break because it might break the internet if we get Jalen Ramsey. I'm getting nothing on that could happen or not. But I believe that the Raiders and John Spytek and his new personnel department will find other players on other teams who they have their eyes on because they might be cut casualties or players that, for whatever reason, are available later on. So that's the Raiders, what I got for you today. I don't got much else. I don't fake it. I got a lot more with the Vegas Golden Knights in the NBA playoffs. So if you're a Raider fan and you're out there, and there's a lot of you who listen, we see the numbers here. Sound off like you got a pair, 702-365-9200. And we still didn't do a good enough job last week hearing from you about your excitement with the draft. You know, a handful of people were great, but there's just so many more out there as I cast a wide net about what you liked about the whole concept here. I got great Pete Carroll sound that we haven't played from Sirius XM that my producer sent over. Pete Carroll's got a great relationship with NFL radio, with Pat Kerwin and Jim Miller. He talks to them often, so I peeled off some of that sound, and we'll play it here a little bit later on. I think you'll like that. So that's where we're going today with NFL news. Oh, the big announcement that the Washington Commanders are going to get the NFL draft. The president made that announcement today from the Oval Office.
Revealed that the 2027 NFL draft, that's a big thing, will be held right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., on the National Mall. And you get a little glimpse of it. I was just saying to Roger, I don't think there's ever been anything like that. That's a good idea. In fact, maybe we could use it for other things also. I have an idea. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be something.
That's really a big announcement. Now, I got a couple of comments on that. First off, I didn't love the location for the Las Vegas NFL draft behind the link. I did not like that. I didn't. I said it when it was going on. I didn't want to offend anybody, but I didn't like that location. I didn't get it. I would have shut down the Strip. They're shutting down the National Mall at the at the Washington Monument, the mall in front of the Capitol for the NFL draft, and we couldn't shut down the Strip for a block. I mean, we did. We had it there, but we should have had the draft, Bobby, on the Strip. Like the stage should have been on the corner of Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard. Sorry, traffic F1. Sorry, just go a couple miles to the left or right. I didn't like the location at the link. I didn't think it was good at all. I didn't like it, but it worked out well. Nashville hit a home run. I thought the Packers, before it rained and bad weather, did a pretty nice job that first night. But, man, this is going to be a monster. Huh. I mean, this thing that's happening with the Commanders as they look to get their name back, the Redskins, and I think they probably will, they're going to have the NFL draft on the mall. They're going to have a new stadium, and they got a pretty good team. And I referenced that team because last year they were a 4-win team. like the Raiders, and they went to the NFC Championship game and won 2 road playoff games. For those who want the best case scenario for the Raiders, best case is the Super Bowl and winning. I would love that to happen. Okay, but a realistic would be the playoffs. Yeah, you better believe it. The Commanders went to the championship round, and they had the same record as the Raiders last year before the season started. Now, the Commanders don't play against Mahomes and the AFC West, but their division isn't easy. But they've had the Giants lately and the Cowboys that have been a bit of a struggle lately. But, I think I'm going to tie in the Raiders a lot to the Commanders the year before and how they turned it around so dramatically. And they did that with Jaden Daniels, but the Raiders have Geno, who's a very stable quarterback who puts up good numbers. So that's how you'd be able to turn it around if you really wanted to turn it around. So I like that topic. I think having the NFL, what the NFL is doing now is just squeezing every last dollar they can get from you. But that's what a lot of businesses do. Many businesses do that, and that's how they remain profitable. So the NFL is going to Europe. They're going to South America, right? They're playing in Australia. That's been formally announced. There's going to be a game in Australia because there's more money. There's more revenue there. And Roger Goodell, who probably will go down, like him or not, is the most successful commissioner of all time just because of what he was able to do with the broadcasting rights, the streaming, the NFL draft, the global expansion. That's all on his watch. So he's going to get a gold jacket and go into Canton, Ohio in the Pro Football Hall of Fame because they're squeezing every dollar out of this league. And then let's get to what's happening. I'm going to save the Warriors to the bottom of the hour to see if anybody calls or anybody's awake because I guess I got to go 30 minutes, right? I got to go 30 minutes here without 6 co-hosts. So I'll go another 10. I'll go another 10, Bob. No, I'll go another 10. It's Monday. My wife kicked me out of the house today. She said, get to work. You're pacing the hallway. Get out of here. Go do your show. The Golden Knights are now playing the Edmonton Oilers. Do you want the good news or the bad news?
Bad news.
Bad news is they have McJesus, the greatest player in the world, Connor McDavid, and they have Draisaitl, who I've explained they're 2 assassins in a movie that's filmed in the Alps where they're skiing with rifles in white costumes and you can't see them in between the trees and they're just picking you off. So you better hope that you can cover those 2 guys because they're assassins. Other than that, the Golden Knights are clearly better than Edmonton. We got a better goalie. We got 4 lines. 3 of them are better than them. We got better defensemen. Oh, my God. We have a defensive all-star team. We're better than the Oilers. We have home ice. Got to win. Remember, every time we play around, we get 2 weeks to talk about it. So we want another month here. We want to beat Edmonton. And then you see Winnipeg and how they win. Winnipeg's the only team that has home ice over us. And Winnipeg won after they scored with a second to go to force overtime, and they won in double overtime, which was big. Bobby, let's get to that Winnipeg victory, as this was the biggest story, without a doubt, was the fact that Winnipeg was able to come through in double overtime, and they were on the verge of elimination.
Through traffic, he scores! Deflected in front by the captain, Adam Lowry. Jets win! Jets win! Jets win! In double overtime tonight!
All right, I wanted the Jets to lose because they won the President's Trophy and they have home ice over the Golden Knights. But, you can't have everything. You can't have everything every way you look at it. So when I see that, I'm okay. But Edmonton's going to be really interesting. I think I'm going on Thursday night, game 2. So as we look at what's going to play out here, Vegas Golden Knight fans, I'll say this again, and I implore you, I'm here to talk hockey when we're deep in the playoffs. That's it. We're going to get guests on. We're going to have people to talk hockey. We are all sports fans, Raider fans or not, whoever you are. We all know that hockey is a big boy sport. We have an elite team that has a chance to win the cup and are alive. Take advantage of the format, 702-365-9200. Really excited for this Golden Knight team. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you can get into the building, you're lucky. You're lucky if you can get into that building and get playoff tickets and go and see this team. I'm lucky when I get a credential, go with my wife or family. I love it. So if you're going to the games, give us hockey calls throughout the next 2 weeks. That would be appreciated. Daniel in Oxnard will begin this week for me. Hello, Daniel.
Hey, JT, how about them Golden Knights, baby?
Beautiful. I love it. I think they'll win the series in 6. I'll take 7, but we got to close it out. Got to get a little extra rest for the Western Conference Finals.
Man, I feel like we need to do a little better on those power plays we're getting, man. We got to find that. I think we need to take more opportunities to shooting that puck through and seeing what rebound we can get and just dice it up again. But, yeah, I'm loving the relentlessness they got. I appreciate you bringing up the Golden Knights. I actually look forward to discussing or just hearing you guys talk hockey. And, yeah, thank you again for all you do. Go Knights and go Raiders. Hopefully to see you out there. I'm going to be going out to game 1. So, see you out there tonight if you're there.
Yeah, thanks for the call. Sorry. Yeah, I won't be there for game 1. We got the national show on Sirius XM on Mondays and Tuesday night, but I'll be out there on Thursday, I believe, and I'm looking forward to that. I mean, to go out to Toshiba Plaza, get yourself a beverage beforehand, whatever you like. We support Modelo, right? You get yourself a Modelo or 2, then you go into that game and you're on your feet. It's just fantastic. So I'm excited about it. It's a good time of year. If we can get the Golden Knights playing hockey in June, because it's May 5th today. Happy birthday to the great J.O.D., John O'Donnell. Real quickly, I went to Norm Clark's Celebration of Life. Norm, famous for the eye patch. He was the entertainment reporter in town, made entertainment in the casinos and celebrities so big. I went to his Celebration of Life on Saturday at the Smith Center. And Johnny Katz-Lamidis, Johnny Katz was the MC. John O'Donnell spoke along with Clint Holmes. A bunch of big people were there. And we said goodbye to Norm in a really cool setting that was very interesting to go to a celebration of life that was broken up into conversations. You know, it was I've never done that before, where you sit there and everybody's in a good mood because you're celebrating someone who passed away. It isn't somber, and everybody's hearing other people tell stories. And I needed to see that. It kind of changed my perspective on how to celebrate people when they're no longer with us. It was really well done. Congrats to everybody behind the scenes there. And that's it. You know, I'm going to be talking about it this week. I'm off next week. A week from today, my son graduates from college. So that's a high milestone in our family. So the last of my sons and the last of my mom and dad's 7 grandkids to graduate college. So we got a big family event coming up here over the next week, which we're excited about it. It is Cinco de Mayo, or as some of my friends say, Cinco de Drinko. Drive responsibly. If you can do that, the monologue is brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue 5 to 7, midnight to 2. They know what I mean when I say your place to watch a Knights game. All of their servers, bartenders, managers know the Golden Knights because they're proud partners with VGK, and they'll help you if you're looking for a spot to watch the Golden Knights throughout the playoffs. That's the monologue. Let's hear from some Raider fans. Coming up next, the Dubs run. You know, I wasn't pulling for the Dubs, not in a negative way. I just don't like Jimmy Butler, who quit. He's quit on the Timberwolves. He quit on Miami. But Jimmy, playoff Jimmy's playing well, and the Warriors have advanced. The NBA playoffs in front of us, which gets better and better each round. I'll dive into that next. JT on a Monday. Yes. 24 minutes of gold. Cinco de Drinko, yes. Hammer the like button, please. Yeah, maybe we'll hear from you, Thor, as we have open lines on the Dubs. You know, we got to get some phone calls coming in from the chat. You know, I'm not one of these shows that have 6 co-hosts. And people say, why do you make fun of those shows? I make fun of them because they're gutless. There's too many people on the air talking who aren't qualified to be on the radio. They just cut the line. So that's a hot button with me. Warriors, Timberwolves have a 54% chance to beat the Warriors, 54%. And my Knicks play Bobby Celtics. Ooh, game 1 tonight. Excited about that. We got a little bit of rain over the weekend. It rained a little bit, which is remarkable. It never rains, but it rained a little bit. For about a half hour. It started out as a drizzle, came down. Yeah. Thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 10,000 subs. And everybody here who's been here from the beginning, we're going to do something special. You're the heart and soul. You built this thing, but We're going to try to give away and bribe people to get us to 10,000 with some giveaways, and you'll all be involved with that. My son's putting that together.
The Richard Harris Law Firm, 444-4444.
If you need to sell your house,
All right, so we got the Warriors and that Pete Carroll sound.
I'm going to play a cut from Steve Kerr from last week talking about Draymond Green. I
Yes.
think he's going to be the difference in that series.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jacob Taylor, and I'm proud to say I'm now a broker working side by side with my dad to continue the legacy he started.
No,
Our clients
his son is
are
mature enough to be able to put up with
That's
this
why we
malarkey.
buy distressed properties.
So I have a new routine every morning. I try to get a little exercise in, get out there, do stuff with the dog, and then I watch my Peaky Blinders. So Peaky Blinders is an incredible show. Little Irish mob at the turn of the century, 1900s, Birmingham, England, little connection there. And it is just a fabulous, fabulous show, kind of like the Irish Sopranos. And what I like about it the most is the fact that there's Cillian Murphy, who won the Academy Award in Oppenheimer. So he won the most prestigious award in all of acting, the Academy Award for Best Actor. I think he did 6 seasons of this show, and he's in every fucking scene. He's in every scene. I've never seen a guy smoke more cigarettes than him. Every scene, he's smoking a dart. It's violent. It's family drama. It's crazy. And you get a chance to watch an Academy Award-winning actor do an epic show before he won the Academy Award, which I find that to be fascinating. It'd be like watching Daniel Day-Lewis in a TV show, a big one, for 4 or 5 years before he won Best Actor. I really like it. Oh, yes, the turn of the century before. Big D, not the turn of this century. This would be the early 1900s, coming off World War I.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, full.
I haven't got into Mobland yet, right away. I'm trying to knock out Peaky Blinders. I'm watching This Is Us on HBO.
Okay, here we go.
Brought to you by the Casa Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-322.
Steve Kerr.
999.
When a team in the game on the line decides to post up Draymond and you're watching it, like how, on a scale of 1 to 100, how good do you feel about your chances in that situation?
1 being great or 100 being great?
100 being great.
100. I feel like 100. Yeah. I mean, he's the best defender I've ever seen in my life. He rises to the occasion, on top of being, a great defender, he's an incredible competitor. And so anytime, and we've seen it, I've seen it for 11 years, game on the line, Draymond making a stop. It's like having Steph Curry take the shot.
Carlos Santana on Cinco de Mayo, brought to you by the Casa Verde Law Group. Oh, my God. How they help everyone, including the Latinos who are here in this market. If you get into an accident or injured, 702-222-9999. The brothers win. The brothers have your back with the epic legacy of their father, brotherswin.com. Go check it out. Let's get Carlos going. One of my favorite Carlos stories is I have a prize photo in my house, in my office, of Carlos and I, and we took it on the sideline. It was lightly raining. I had a Raiders trucker hat on, and the Raider photographer counted to 3, said 1, 2, 3, and Carlos put out the peace sign and said, Jim Plunkett. That's what he said when the picture was taken, Jim Plunkett. So Carlos, who I see from time to time on the main streets of Summerlin, Cinco de Mayo, open lines. We shouldn't have any. If you're a Raider fan, you should have something to talk about every day. I gave you 20 minutes on the Raiders. Let's get some Raider fans woken up, ready to go. We do not have an off season. We want to hear from Raider fans on the draft. No grades. We want to dive into specific player groups. And we also want to welcome Anthony Patch, who is a high-end executive with the team now, at 702-365-9200. So you just heard Steve Kerr talk about Draymond Green. Draymond is a Hall of Famer. It's not hard to get into the Hall of Fame of the pro basketball. It's not. It's brutally difficult to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. The NFL Hall of Fame, reasonably tough. Reasonably very tough. I think it's very tough. Hockey, I don't have enough knowledge on the history of the Hockey Hall of Fame, but you can get into the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame without a ring, without playing in a championship title like Carmelo Anthony, because he did a lot when he played for the Olympics. In college, they let college coaches in and other players. So Draymond Green's going right to the Hall of Fame because he's one of the greatest instigators since the bad boy Pistons of 89-90. Since the legendary Pistons, Draymond Green is that great of an instigator. He's got 4 championships. That's more than the bad boy Pistons. He defends as good as anybody I've seen. He's a liability if you ask him to score, but he can score. He got a layup the other day where he got the ball at the top of the key, had a left-handed layup. I said, wow, I didn't know Draymond had that in his tool shed, and he was able to do that. And again, he's going to get a controversial technical foul. He's also an enforcer. He protects Steph Curry the way that Marty McSorley protected Wayne Gretzky. You need someone to protect Steph when big guys want to make a run at Steph. Now, Steph played in the old era. What's the old era? Not the 50s, where they're wearing, short shorts and Converse. I'm not talking about the old days, the Chuck Taylor days. I'm talking about the 80s and 90s. I'll go from Isaiah Thomas to Michael Jordan, Bird and Magic. If Steph Curry played in that era, he'd be on his ass and injured a lot more. Because those players in that era would not have allowed Steph Curry to do the shake and the shimmy and have the mouth guard hanging out of his mouth. And then when he beats you, doing the shimmy up the court. Old school guys would not have allowed that. That is fact, not fiction. Don't get in my face that I'm wrong with that. Now, Steph would have been great in that era. Why? Because his jump shot would have been still great. But Steph, when he did get his layups and his dipsy-do underneath the basket, would have gotten flattened by James Edwards, Robert Parrish, Patrick Ewing would have kicked his ass and said, hey, young son, you're really good. But the next time you have that smile and that 3 and you do that shoulder roll, come on down into the painted area and we'll make you pay. Jordan took a beating. Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time. Did you see his first couple of years in the league? He was injured. He missed a season. He was bloodied. He was battered. He could get to the front of the rim. 3 guys would throw him to the ground. Draymond's there to protect Steph. So I think the Warriors have a beautiful matchup. The only thing that would even be better for the Warriors if Oklahoma City lost, which I don't think is going to happen. The Warriors could have one of the great runs to the Western Conference Finals because Anthony Edwards and that Timberwolves team, they take a lot of bad shots. And if they miss those shots, the Warriors rebound and go. And I have a lot more trust in the Warriors hitting threes than I do with the Wolves hitting threes. So the Warriors are in a really good spot here. If you're a Warrior fan here, you definitely got to like where you're at. Buddy Hield went off. It was his greatest game as a Warrior. He carried that team to an easy win. They won that game going away.
Out to Buddy Hield, and he is just not missing in Houston. Buddy Hield has the liftoff here. The Warriors lead by 10, 80-70. Hield is 7 of 9 from 3. He's got 25 points.
Wow, Tim Roy on the call, man. Buddy Hield played great. Went to Oklahoma, Lon Kruger, went to Sacramento. Wow, isn't it amazing when you get a player like that to come to your team? Buddy Hield's not going to be a starting big 3, but he played better than everybody in that game. And then the Curry dagger late in the game as Steph, as always, put it away.
Comes left, crossover dribble, crossover again, step back, takes a 3 under duress. It's good. It's good. Curry nails it. And it's 91-74. The Warriors have their largest lead of the game right now.
Yeah, the Warriors just put them away. The daggers down the stretch. I think there was a triple dagger. There was like Steph, Buddy Hield, then Buddy Hield again. And the Houston kids, the Houston children were looking around on the court going, oh my God, this is what a veteran team does. So Houston was a 2 seed. They have to get Durant. Durant's got to, I'm calling that right now. Durant needs to go to Houston tomorrow because Durant is a ring chaser, which a lot of people ring chase. Durant knows that they need him in Houston. They need a closer. They need an adult in the room. They need a legend or LeBron. I said this, LeBron and Durant should be on the phone going, how do I get to Houston? Because they need me. They need a veteran presence, and I can get them past the Warriors and Draymond. They need someone. So I think Durant is going to force his way to Houston, and Phoenix is going to be like, great, get the hell out of here. We don't want to pay you and go and do that there. But Houston was not ready for prime time. Here's Steph after the game on how they were able to close it out.
Incredibly
A lot of
impressive.
resilience. Everybody's stepping up. Everybody's been talking about our team in the last, 2 games in terms of our execution, energy, all that. We kind of blocked it all out and just understood we had 48 minutes to, dig deep. Everybody contribute. Our defense was the holding them under 90 after how the last 2 games gone. That was it. Buddy Hield, unbelievable. Jimmy, some big time shots. Draymond playing way bigger than the size. Everybody stepped up. It was great to see.
You hear what Steph said? Draymond playing way bigger than his size. I like that. When you have a player that can play bigger than his size in the NBA, that says a lot for Steve Kerr. He was getting called out, Steve Kerr, even in the Bay Area, for the fact that his team just didn't look good in 2 of those games. They quit in one of the games. They quit to save their legs, and it saved Steve Kerr because their legs were able to go in Game 7, and they had the resolve to win the series.
Incredibly impressive display of resolve, discipline. The defense was fantastic. The ball security, kind of game plan discipline followed to a T.
Are there any Warrior fans or NBA fans on sports radio out there today? It's Monday. Let's go. 702-365-9200. The Warriors, I like their draw. They got a really good draw. They're playing teams that don't have experience. I mean, Anthony Edwards is really good. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is really good. But they don't have the hardware that Steph and Draymond have. And those guys, I think the Warriors are eventually going to run out of gas. I think eventually they're just not going to be able to run with the Wolves or Oklahoma City. But right now, you got to like the way they're playing here. And I also want to know if you are enjoying the NBA playoffs. It's a big topic that I'll talk about tonight. Because most people, again, don't want to watch the NBA playoffs. Why is that? I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know. Is it politics? Is it because in the bubble they wrote things on the court and on their jerseys? Is it you don't like the style of play? I agree with that. Too many bad threes. But the playoffs are good. Like you turn on an NBA playoff game. I got my Knicks tonight. I'm going to watch that game, and it's going to be unbelievable. Because the Knicks are going to play like their life depends on it, and so is the Celtics. And you'll get a quality of a game. But here's my problem with the NBA, and I think it might be a little bit of yours. The game gets really ugly, Bobby, during these chunks of these games. So when you're watching an NBA game, it's not beautiful. When you watch an NFL game, if the Bengals are playing the Chiefs in a playoff game, Burrow might throw for 350, Mahomes 320. There's 2 or 3 great touchdowns. They're running the ball. Maybe no limited turnovers. And you're like, man, that was a hell of a football game. It was fun to watch. It was well played. When you turn on an NBA game, it is so horrible at 1 or 2 points in the game. Bobby, I mean, you've been a diehard Celtic fan. You grew up in the parquet. And Celtics are one of those teams. When they're hitting those glorious threes, it's beautiful. But when they're missing 20 to 22 of them a game, I guess you just got a stomachache.
Well, you know what? You just said it yourself. That's the thing about the Celtics. When they're going to pop 53s a game. That's what they do. But if they're hitting 30, 35, it's a whole lot more entertaining than if they're hitting 10 or 15.
Yeah, I don't get as entertained by threes as some people do. The Warriors and Steph Curry, to his liking, Steph Curry has made the three in the modern era what it is, entertaining, and Steph will pull up at the logo and hit it. But, with the see guys like Porzingis and Karl Anthony Towns and these guys in this series who are close to 7 foot shooting threes and their coaches are encouraging that, I don't like that style of play.
That's always something about that. Goes back to Eric Montrose, if you remember that name. Yeah, he was a big white stiff that would sit out there tossing up threes 20 years ago. Yeah. And it's like now that seems to be everybody's
fundamentals have been lost as much, but the athletes are very entertaining. 702-365-9200. Coming up, we have sound from Pete Carroll, which is really good. Competition, Pete, everything that's going on with Pete Carroll and the amount of bodies that are in the building now. I'm in the building a lot, but this time of year, not as much as always because it's the off season. We're going to do some shows, some YouTube stuff, hopefully coming up there. But what's fascinating is there's been a complete turnover as Mark Davis has proven that he wants to get it right. One thing about Mark, if you don't like Mark's decision, he pivots pretty quickly. Like Mark Davis, if he sees something going off the rails, he'll make the decision quickly to try to upgrade it. And now we're in an era with Mark Davis bringing in Tom Brady, bringing in John Spytek and Pete Carroll, where Mark is now allowing, and he's always allowed it. One thing about Mark, he's allowed everybody to do whatever they want to do, always, because he knows what he doesn't know, and he wants to bring in smart people around him to help win. But there's a lot of people now that have recent track records that are Super Bowl friendly, Las Vegas Raiders, that can help. So as they bring in Anthony Patterson, we're going to have someone in the building now that understands Roseman and how he built the Eagles and how he built the Eagles practice and how he looked at college scouting differently than maybe a couple of other past. And if they get it right, you got to look at this Raider infrastructure now as the infrastructure that looks better than in years past because they're just bringing in recent people that were around great teams. And maybe that's the difference now because there's been a lot of good people that have come and gone. But this is the regime that we need to get it right. 702-365-9200. Want to thank our friends at Grimaldi's Pizzeria. The best pizza I've ever had. 4 locations here in the Valley. You can't miss it. Grimaldi's. Get the Brooklyn Bridge Pizza and the Caprese salad. You'll thank me for it. All right. We'll do that Pete stuff. Yep. What's happening, everyone? Mean Streets of Summerlin.
Don't miss Unnecessary Roughness weekdays at 2 on Raider Nation Radio, 920 AM.
Boyd Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. All right, what else is everybody doing today? Fundamentals are lost, bricklayers, Kaminga illness, coach's decision. I don't understand what Kerr does with his minutes, Big D, but he definitely has guys who are in the fucking doghouse, I'll tell you that. This is JT for the Black Hole, home of football's most notorious fans. If you're a diehard Raider fan, this is your home. Become a member today and receive 20% off online purchases. Host discounts for home and away games, access to members-only merchandise, and much more. All memberships are now lifetime memberships. Once a member, always a member. If you bleed silver and black, visit theblackhole.com today. That's theblackhole.com.
Personal injury law has been the same for a long time. We've had enough.
1 second.
Salmon Ash, the new standard for personal injury law, where things are done the right way. Because you deserve a team that delivers real support and results. When you have both, your whole world can change. So if you've been hurt in a crash, call Salmon Ash.
All right. Yeah, the callers are quiet today, which is very disrespectful to Bobby because Bobby puts a 2-hour show together and we try to get people engaged. And some days people bail on us, but not the bricklayers. Bricklayers are there. We won't do low-hanging fruit topic radio. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite cheeseburger? Because that's been done in this market, Bobby. Let's see.
Someone you love is pregnant or thinking about getting
It's me, Spytek, talking about Janty coming back.
Visit SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org or call 211 to find help today. SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org also has resources for healthcare providers, friends, and family. If you want to help someone who's pregnant,
Caitlin Clark, man. Caitlin Clark played at our old college gym and put on a show against Brazil. Go Knicks. Joe Romano, is that the Joe I know? Chef Joe?
Transfer system is only available in our Hawks airflow paver boot. The benefits are to keep air flowing through the boot to keep your foot cooler and drier throughout an extreme workday. The new Hawks airflow paver boot is your new choice throughout a long.
All right, so I'll have that, Pete.
Hawks work.
Yep, the pork cut there already. I'll throw them ready.
I'm Josh Galindo, owner of Galindo Group Real
Okay.
Estate. We're not just a real estate company, we're a lifestyle brokerage with over 20 years of experience. When you work with us, you get more than
We'll take this to the top of the hour, everybody. I'm going to stream the first hour. You'll love this. I told my wife to put up the brick in my home studio. We have a brick tapestry. I said, put that thing up tonight, man. We got to do about 25 minutes tonight. So we'll do that tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders, and the JT the
What's that?
Modelo Especial is a rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste, brewed with finest spirits since 1925.
So who you playing? Who you playing here? So Bobby's taking requests for Cinco de Drinko. What you got coming up?
Ozo Motley.
Ozo Motley. What's the backstory of Ozo Motley?
It would take way too long to explain. But they're a Mexican band. This is high tech.
America's original craft vodka. Visit Tito'sVodka.com.
He's got such a unique story. I'm really excited for you guys to meet him. And you can even start when he was a freshman. You know, he comes from a military family, and his dad was stationed, I think he told us, in Naples. And here's this kid that's got this love affair with football, and he's in Naples, Italy, trying to figure out how to play football. And he was like, I went to a high school and I played football there, you know. And then his dad finished his career in the military, and they got to kind of pick where they wanted to live, and they picked the greater Dallas area because of the quality of football there. And he, as a junior, he's playing behind a guy that's a running back. I think he's at Central Florida now, he told us. So he played slot receiver, and all he ever wanted to do was play football. And he's a physical runner, but he's a dynamic runner. And we just kind of fell in love with his story and his love affair with football.
More on Ashton Genty from John Spytek. Is this Ozo Motley on Cinco de Mayo? Let's hear it. I mean, what other sports show gives you Cinco de Mayo music? Come on. I like this, Bobby. Drop this in the monologue more. Hey, I want to tell everybody about the new headsets I'm wearing. If you're watching on YouTube, it's Astrum. Best I've ever had, and I mean it. I got the ear pods that I walk with. They're incredible, but Astrum headphones, the greatest headphones I've ever experienced. The sound is so amazing. The technology is one of a kind. All I need you to do is go to Astrum, ASTRUM, tech.com. Use the promo code JT. You get 20% off, and that's a nice number during the checkout. So you get the best headsets. I mean, the people that are using this headset, from Chris Martin to Coldplay to a lot of other entertainers, or raving about it. Hockey players, a hockey team, and hockey players are wearing this as they take off and travel. It is great, man. It took a lot for me to take off my old headsets that I wore forever here to put on astrumtech.com, ASTRUMTECH.com, 20% off with the code JT. That's how businesses run. Give us a help there, and I think you'll really appreciate these new headsets. So Pete Carroll spends a lot of time on SiriusXM NFL radio. He's got a great friendship with Pat Kerwin and Jim Miller. And Pete talked about the draft, the working that came together as they put it all together to try to nail the draft.
Johnny Spytek did a great job of orchestrating. This was a big time rush for us getting through it all, and starting the program up, and the mini camp, the volunteer mini camp on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of draft week, and it was crazy. And John did a great job, and his guys, and really proud of it.
Yeah. So what's interesting what Pete said on SiriusXM there to get this all started, they kept some of the other coaches and a couple of the other scouts, whatever. I don't have the number. They rebranded this whole thing. and how to get ready to have athletes in the building and put the board together. And Pete felt really good about it, especially Ashton Genty, who was available for the Raiders to take in the first round.
He knows how to glance off of guys, and you see him. There's a burst that comes out of the attempted tackle that propels him constantly, and he just kind of just dances on his feet to stay alive, and then next thing you know, he's bursting down the field.
That's really important. The Raiders had that with Josh Jacobs, right? A lot of people are asking me, or some said to me, how do you compare him to Josh Jacobs? Well, it's a tough question. Let me double check how I'm going to say this. He was a much better player coming into the draft process than Josh Jacobs, who went late in the first round, and Ashton Genty went 6th overall and almost won the Heisman. And a lot of people, including Cam Newton, thought he should have won the Heisman because Travis Hunter, with all due respect, didn't have big numbers. Travis Hunter did not have massive numbers on defense, and he did not have massive wide receiver numbers. They were very good, but Genty, his numbers were super elite. So Genty comes in with everybody thinking of Josh Jacobs as the last running back the Raiders took out of Alabama, who was elite. And Josh had a great year last year. Wow. And he had a couple of big years with the Raiders. But Ashton Genty, my expectations, I don't know about you, mine are higher than Josh Jacobs. Am I right to say that? Or is the Twitter police going to arrest me? I would hope everyone in Raider Nation has higher aspirations for Ashton Genty than Josh Jacobs, who we think the world of and was a great player with the Raiders. Once a Raider, always a Raider. More from Pete Carroll on John Spytek and how he ran the whole draft and how it all came together. There was a lot that went on behind the scenes.
I thought Joe did a really good job of picking up picks for us. You know, we had 11 picks in the draft, which we really were hoping to do. That was a goal from the outset. And being able to do that and also pick out a very special group of guys, I think is really a creditable accomplishment for us.
Yeah, and when it comes down to all of this, look, when it comes to Ashton Genty, you might want to just say, hey, let's see him play a little first. Hey, man, you got to play before we can put you in Barry Sanders or a Josh Jacobs category. No, not me. I'm projecting what I think going forward. I am broadcasting, not narrowcasting. I have a broad expectation of Ashton Genty. When Fred Biletnikoff came to this organization, the legend out of Florida State, expectations were him to be great, and he lived up to it. You got to play a little and then be great. Let's see if he can do this. And then finally, that's the receiver out of TCU. What a story, as Pete Carroll was able to describe on SiriusXM.
John and I both just saw that this guy is such a great competitor, and we wanted to put guys like that on this first draft class. And I think Jack is emblematic of being a great competitor. He's physical, tough as hell, and just kind of loves the game in the way that we really cherish. So it worked out great, and he's going to be an excellent addition.
Excellent addition. So the Raiders brought in Bastion Thornton, 2 guys who are going to play. I like that. I mean, I really like the fact that the Raiders got a 6'5", 4'3" guy and a player in Bash who's just going to be a slot, inside, outside, run people over after the catch guy. I mean, don't we have that with Michael Mayer, Bobby? I mean, we do have that with Michael Mayer. I want Chip Kelly to take Michael Mayer to the promised land. What Michael Mayer did at Notre Dame was catch the ball, and then like a heat-seeking missile, he was running at people and mowing them down. We forget about Michael Mayer because the former regime and the offensive minds in the former regimes, for whatever reason, forgot about him. And that was wrong. That was wrong. You know, Darren Waller was here. Hunter Renfrow got dinged and concussed. That ended. Right? We were there for that. Michael Mayer, again, I don't know what he is capable of doing in the NFL because he hasn't got enough targets. So if he's going to be here, which it seems like he is, and we love Big Mike. God, he gave me a great interview last year in Costa Mesa, one of the best that we've had. I want, if Big Mike is going to be part of this offense, to get significant targets with Besh and the rest of these guys, including Brock. Because Brock gets a lot of targets because he's really good, and Jacoby Myers doesn't drop the ball. Hour number 1 brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Had a couple Tito's over the weekend. It's my go-to vodka. It should be yours. Tito's have been around for a long time. It's an American success story. So the next time you want to try a new vodka, go to titosvodka.com, distilled and bottled by Fifth Generation Inc., Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly. Tito's, my go-to vodka. That was a really good hour. Felt like I was here by myself for most of it, Bobby. So I'm going to talk to some friends next hour. The Maven of San Francisco, Damon Bruce on the Warriors. And coming up next, Kevin Iole. What a great mixed martial arts and boxing journalist on the Inoue fight and the announcement of Canelo fighting at Allegiant Stadium. Stick around for that. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to the 66 who showed up. Means everything. I will go live tonight at 7. How many of the 65 will be live with me at 7 p.m.? Hope to see you all there. Cinco de Mayo. Drink responsibly. Have a couple of cold ones.